Hey guys, welcome back. We're now on the average gradient.
And this is an important thing, Nelson. Average gradient, what it really is, if you remember from grade 10, the average gradient between 2 points
We're dealing with 2 points actually.
is the gradient of the line.
Straight line.
Average gradient. Now remember we did limits.
Yep.
Limits is as the x's go somewhere, the y values go approach. Okay. When the f of the two may well be undefined, but we're not really getting into too many technical things. Let's look at an example with average gradient, guys, to explain what average gradient is. Generate a general formula and then come up with probably, I think, one of the greatest discoveries. I don't know how you feel, Nelson, of the Newtonian discovery of first principles. I think it's amazing. Let's read an example quickly. Do you want to read it quickly?
Right. Find the average gradient of the graph of x squared minus 4 between x is negative 1 and x is 3. Right.
Okay, now, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a sheet of paper, and I've drawn the parabola x squared minus 4. Let's have a look. Can you see there? Okay, now what I've done is the happy chappy. Very quickly, we weren't really asked to sketch it, but just for the sake of explanation, the x-intercept would have probably been, what would that be, minus 2. Remember, if x is 0, it would have been minus 2 and 2 there. But we're not really worried about these guys at the moment. We're looking
at the points.
The average gradient of the parabola between 2 points. Now, Nelson, if you have a look at this, this is very cool because what we've got here is we've got the point A, which is over here. This is point A, and that's point B. Okay, and we want to get the average gradient between these 2 points, and probably if you go back to grade 10 days, if you have a look at this, if we had to join those 2 points, we've got a straight line, and we want to get the gradient of that line. But if we've got two x values, now the important thing, if we've got x equals minus 1, can you just remind them what we mean by f of negative 1? Do you want to do
Remember
that
here,
quickly?
guys, f of negative 1, we're simply replacing x by negative 1. This becomes negative 1 squared minus 4. Okay, you replace this way. Don't put negative out. And then this becomes negative 1 times negative 1 is 1 minus 4, which is actually negative 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Okay,
and that is important because that is actually the f of negative 1 is the y value. You see?
Yes.
So let's look at this again. So over here we know that this is negative 3. Okay, and if we take x as 3, remember the x is 3, so what would be the f of 3?
f of 3, which is 3 squared minus 4.
Okay,
that
which
is 9 minus 4, which is 5.
Which is actually 5. And that's the y value there. Okay, which is great. Now, the point A, this is so important coordinates. If x is minus 1, the y is negative 3. And if you look at B, the x is going to be 3, and what's the y?
5.
And the y is 5. So those are important. And if we want the gradient of AB, okay, what's going to happen here? The gradient of AB, if you remember that it's the y of B, you can do
any.
Doesn't matter, you can go y of A minus the y of B over the x of A minus the x of B. You can also go the other way. Okay, now what would that be? Nelson, do you want to show them how to work that out quickly?
All right, let's have a look, guys. Y at A. Let's look at A. Y there is negative 3. You replace negative 3 minus, on the formula, y of B is 5. Look at y of B is 5 divided by, then x at A is negative 1 minus x at B is just 3. So the top one gives negative 8, then the bottom one gives negative 4. What's the final answer, Mark?
Must be 2.
2.
And that makes sense because what's the important thing? The gradient of that line is sloping.
It's
It is
sloping,
positive
yeah. It's
because the
positive.
line is going to right. Now, important, watch this, guys. If we go back to here, what we've seen is we've seen that the gradient of line AB is that. But now we know that the average gradient of f, the average gradient of f between these two x values is also 2. So remember, the gradient of the line is 2, but the average gradient of the parabola,
Parabola,
is
yeah.
also 2. But you agree that's not very interesting. So we want to get onto something far more interesting. And we're going to be looking now at a general formula for average gradient. Do you want to take it further, Nelson? Let's go through this. Do you want to explain to them? We've got any curve f.
We have the graph of f here, and the 2 points. Whereby we're naming this point A, this point B. And then we need the values here. This is still general. We name this point, the x value is x, and this distance is h. And then the value of x is going to be x plus
we're
h.
adding on
The x. On the
h.
first one, we add that h. Then the second value will be x plus h.
And then, of course, you get the fx, which is the corresponding y, and f of x plus h is that. Now, guys, in the next lesson, we're going to be looking at taking this further, developing a beautiful formula. So watch the space. Don't go away.